Hey guys, I'm back with another video. So I want to talk about adulting and how it is not easy. And it just really, there are so many things you have to do to gain independence and sovereignty over your own life. It is such a multi-step process, and it starts with smaller goals and adds up to bigger goals, and then eventually you're going to be at the finish line. But interestingly enough, what scares so many of us about adulting and getting to the next step is that the future is an utter mystery. We never know where we're going to end up, especially me and a lot of you guys, because I'll talk a little bit personal about my life. I majored in psychology, which is a very broad field. With psychology, you can end up working in education or healthcare. You can end up working in sales, customer service. There's so many different things you can do with a psychology degree. And so that's one of the scary parts too, is how do I figure out what my career is? Luckily for me, I've always known for a long time, not always, but I've known for a long time that I want to work in education, and I want to help students. I want to help people figure out what path they're going to take and what major they want, and I want to be an advisor, and then after I finish my master's, I want to be a professor and teach, hopefully full-time. I know with your master's, it's harder to get a full-time tenure position, but that is my goal. And so when it comes to adulting, even after you get your degree and you feel like, okay, I'm ready, I got my degree, I got hired, and now what? Now what do I do? I'll tell y'all what I'm going through right now. I'm gonna be specific, I'm gonna get personal. No pun intended, but I feel like once you get to this point, you have to be the one in the driver's seat. And the reason I say no pun intended is because I'm literally car shopping right now. I have savings. I'm very blessed. I've worked very hard to get to this place that I am at. It has never been easy. Just like John Locke from the show Lost says, it's never been easy. It is so true. It's never been easy to get here. College was really hard for me. I used to have a hard time focusing. Then I finally locked in my late 20s. I locked in. I worked really hard. I had a job. I was volunteering, and I was taking 5 classes at a time. Except for my first semester, I did 4 classes. Then after that, I did 5 classes. It was really hard. It was really hard. I had to take classes in the summer just to graduate. I graduated a semester early because I wanted to. I wanted to save money and save time. So I worked really hard. I grinded, and I finished a semester early. Now I have my bachelor's. I just got hired for a really cool job opportunity, and it is not in my home state. I gotta move 2 states to an undisclosed location. I gotta move. And so in order to move, I don't have my real ID, so I can't just fly up there. I would either have to take the train or get a car and drive myself up there. So I'm thinking more towards the latter. I want to have my own vehicle, especially for once I get there. Once I already have my own vehicle, it'll give me a lot of peace of mind for driving to work, even though I have some housing in mind. Yeah, I don't even have my house figured out yet, which house I'm going to move into. But I do have a couple of housing options that I'm taking pretty seriously that I think are good candidates for me. They might be a good fit for me. But I still haven't got my car figured out, and I am practicing conscientiousness. I'm pretty type A. I am the planner. So I'm trying to budget everything before I get there, because I do not want to have to live off of my savings. I want to save. Saving is a huge priority for me. And also, I do not believe in usury, so I don't believe in debt, and I don't believe in high interest rates. Although that being said, when I get my car, I am thinking about financing, but I want to do an option that is affordable for me and won't take a large amount from my savings. So that's really important to me too. But yeah, I just feel like there is literally so much that goes into planning your life, and I worked really hard to get to this place. This is a place that I'm at now that I prayed for. I cried over this. I wanted this so bad. And it's funny because when I was younger, my favorite TV show was America's Next Top Model. I know it's a reality show. It's not the most high vibrational thing you can watch, but what I loved about that show was how some of the women were so driven to become models and get their dream job and travel the world. And one thing I remember from that show is Tyra Banks would always tell the models, you have to want it really bad. You have to want to win the competition or you're not going to win. If you for 1 minute show that you don't want it, you are not going to get it. If you let fear of failure stop you, you are not going to get what you want. You have to understand the future is like an obstacle course. You have to have faith and know that you are going to get to the finish line, but you don't know how you're going to get there. You don't know what the obstacle course looks like. You just know that you trust God and you trust your own decision making because you have confidence and self-esteem and you trust your choices, that you are going to get there. You are going to get to the finish line. You just don't know how. You don't know what the racetrack looks like. You just know that you are equipped to get where you want to get to. So yeah, with adulting, it is so much, so many steps. For me, I had to go to university, I had to get my degree, I had to work extremely hard so I could get grants and scholarships and be debt free. And now I have to buy a car, I have to move, I have to find housing, I have to start my new job, I'm going to start graduate school, and I'm giving myself validation too. And this is something I would tell you to do, is it's okay to cry. Like, straight up, it is okay to cry and say, this is a lot, because it really is a lot. It is so much. It is so much. There are many, many steps to get freedom. I'm still in the environment that I want to leave, but I am so close to getting my own place. And I have been laying down so many bricks to get here. So many steps I've had to complete. I love the idea of SMART goals that were developed, I think in the 1960s or 70s by some guy, and I can't remember his name, but SMART goals are really good because they require you to make specific goals, and then they require you to write down actionable steps, and that way you can actually get what you want. So I'll give you an example. A SMART goal does not look like, I am going to be rich, I want to be rich. A SMART goal looks like, I want to make $60,000 a year, and here's how I'm going to do it, and here's all the steps I'm going to take to get there. That's a SMART goal. And SMART is an acronym. I can't tell you what all of it stands for, but I know the S in SMART is specific. Sorry, you guys, I did not review SMART goals before I made this video. I'm doing a little impromptu video right now, and a part 2 to the other video where I was discussing the power of words. So that being said, you really want to have a specific goal in mind. And that is how I got this far. That's how I got through undergraduate studies. And that's how I got a job offer, straight up. People will tell you, if you're a psych major, that there is not a job for you. If you watch Dave Ramsey and you watch other financial advisors, they will tell you that you're not going to get a job. It's one of the top 10 worst degrees. I will tell you, do not listen to those people. And that goes back to words having meaning and value and entering your subconscious mind. I used to look up information about psychology degrees a lot because I am a planner and I am more type A and I wanted to plan everything out. Well, sometimes you just seriously have to take a leap of faith with that too, because I'm here to tell you, if you have a psych degree, you can get a job, you can get a good career even without your master's or your doctoral degree, because I have a pretty good offer right now. And I know maybe I shouldn't be revealing too much because you never know, pathways can always change. But I do feel good about this. And if this doesn't work out today, I feel like God is telling me there is always going to be an abundance of jobs and you don't have to be afraid, because that's another thing too about the end goal is, I'm having a little bit of neck pain right now, but that's one thing about the end goal too, is you could have some really good offer and then you never know. God might send you something even better. So always keep your mind open to that. Like, you seriously never know. But yeah, to get what you want, you really have to trust yourself and trust God and just trust the process. And just know that every step you take, you are closer to getting your goal. And also, one thing too that's really important is it's okay to ask for help. I know that with me, I do have a pretty good community, and I've always said anybody is a teacher, mentor, or advisor if you're willing to listen, because I learn so much from so many different sources, not just on YouTube, but I go to YouTube Academy all the time. I learn so much on this app. I love this app, but at the same time, I like to learn from people face to face a lot, and I think that can be more valuable too in the long run, because those connections you make in real life, they can really help you get to the next step. So I'll tell you my story today. I went into my old workplace, and I have a really good relationship with all of my former managers, supervisors, and colleagues. I have a pretty good relationship with everybody. And I feel like we have that mutual trust where they can ask me if they need help with something and I'm there for them. And simultaneously, I can ask them for advice and they're there for me. So today I met with my old manager, and she went over some things with me about purchasing a car. And it was really helpful, except now, this is where I say you have to be in the driver's seat and you have to make your own choices. Except now, the car that I really want is a Honda CR-V, and we found one that's really good, and I scheduled the test drive for tomorrow, but the clerk from the car place just called me, and she told me I'm approved, everything's good, I can buy the car, but the monthly payment would be almost $400, plus insurance would be close to $600 a month. And I've been budgeting for a while now and figuring out how much money I'll make after my gross pay. And that's just really high for me. Even with my savings, I still am going to have a lot of bills, because that's adulting. You have a lot of bills. That's just facts. I'm going to have a lot of bills, and I just don't know if that's going to be a possibility for me. So I think I'm just going to look at a different Honda, maybe something smaller. Maybe I won't go with a van right now. I want a van, but I think I might hold off on the idea of getting a van and go for something smaller. And even though I really trust my colleagues and I trust my close friends, I'm the only person at the end of the day that lives my life. That's how it is. I'm the only person that lives my life. Nobody is going to live my life for me. I live my life. I am the main character of my life. I'm not saying that to be sounding egotistical. That is just literally a fact of life, okay? If life is like a play, you are your own main character, and you are also the director of your own life, okay? You just are. That is just literally facts. That's undeniable. So as much as you trust people, I'll admit there's people that are adulting way harder than me. They got their own place going on, their own car. They got it going on. They might be older than me. They might be in a higher leadership role than me. Those people definitely inspire me, and I respect their opinions a lot. But I have to go with what is best for me, and I have to trust my own judgment making. And that's why self-esteem is so important. If you don't have self-esteem and you don't even trust yourself, you're going to let everyone else make decisions for you. Dude, I'm telling you from experience, because this is how I used to be. I used to ask other people all the time, and I still do ask for advice, but I know at the end of the day, I have the choice whether I take it or not. But I used to ask people, what should I eat? What should I drink? What kind of movies should I watch? I used to just value people's opinions so much more than my own thoughts. And I don't know if I think I've talked about Bill Hicks on this channel. Bill Hicks is one of my favorite comedians of all time. He's not necessarily the funniest comedian. I think Norm Macdonald's the funniest, but Bill Hicks was like straight genius level. And one thing he said when he was talking about the nature of reality and conspiracies is he said, it's not about what other people think and what other people know. It's about you. It's like, what do you think? You know the answer. What do you think? And he's trying to drive the point across that you have to have your own ability to think for yourself. And that is so key to life. That is so integral. You have to trust your own decisions. If I listened to everybody else, I would have been an accounting major or a law major or some other lucrative major. I wouldn't have gone after my dream. It's about going after what my dream is. And today there was this beautiful synchronicity. I went to this really beautiful university where it's open to the public and you can like walk your dog and walk around. I came here by myself, and I was looking in the ballroom area of this is a fancy university. I looked in the ballroom, and there was this older guy and this older lady, and they were up on this balcony inside of this building, and they said, "Excuse me, are you looking for something?" And I turned around and I said, I'm just looking at the ballroom. I love to poke my head through the ballroom. It's beautiful. And I told them, this is going to sound so funny and silly, but I had a dream that I was in this ballroom before. And when I come here and I look at this ballroom, it reminds me of a dream I had. And the guy said, well, you know what? You always have to follow your dreams. And then I told them my story about how I've graduated and I'm looking for a car and I got a new job and everything. And they were really sweet and supportive. They're complete strangers to me, but they were really sweet. And they were like, because I told them I also got into this university too, but I got in for their doctoral program, but it was over $100,000. And I was like, if y'all don't have full funding, I'm not doing it. So, but he was like, yeah, it doesn't matter what university you end up in, as long as you just keep going after your goals. And it was so sweet. I always feel like we're meant to meet people, and people that you meet, like strangers, always have a good message. Maybe not always if they're like crazy, but if they're like crazy street people, pray for them, because we do not wrestle with flesh and blood. We got some principalities going on around here. But yeah, you have to trust your judgment making. And you are the driver. At the end of the day, you are in the driver's seat. You're not in the passenger seat. Nobody's gonna live your life for you. This is your story to tell. So while people might be giving me good advice for buying a car, at the end of the day, I have to choose which car I drive. At the end of the day, I have to choose what city I'm gonna live in, or what job I'm gonna work in, or what house I'm gonna rent. I have to do that, but I love people, and I love when people try to help me and give me advice. And that's not to say that people's opinions don't matter. You can literally learn anything from everyone. Just know that self-esteem means trusting yourself. Oh, and what I was talking about earlier, I don't think I finished my thought, which I always go on tangents. But yeah, like if you grew up where you never really trusted your own decision making, it can be really hard to get out of that mindset. And I know when I was younger, I would always ask people questions about what I should do, and I never really knew for myself what to do. Or not even that I didn't know, but I just didn't take the time to think about things and ask myself, what do I want to do, and trust that my path is possible too. I don't have to take another path someone else lays out before me. I can trust my own path. And it's cool because that's something I want to tell people as an advisor. Like, I'm in a advising position right now. That's something I really want to tell students is you can pick whatever path you want. As long as you're passionate about that, you can really succeed. I know someone who has an English degree, and she makes good money, but she had to get her master's, and that's a whole other story. But she makes really good money. People say English degrees are worthless. There is no such thing as a worthless degree. If you love something and that's your dream, you really should go for it. You really shouldn't be afraid you shouldn't be afraid of success. You shouldn't be afraid of failure. You just really have to go. You have to go for it. You really do. You owe it to yourself. You owe it. This is your life story. If you're writing a memoir about your life story, it's not going to be a fun memoir if the whole story is about you following everyone else. At the end of the day, wouldn't you want to be a leader? And in order to be a leader, you have to lead yourself too. And a lot of us grew up with parents that used to tell us what our personality is going to be. My parents used to tell me, Oasis, you don't like jazz music, or you don't like vanilla, you always liked chocolate when you were a kid. And they would always discourage me from trying new things, and they would project their own personality and interests onto me. So as a kid, I was never really asked, what kind of music do you like? What do you want to try something new? Even if you're afraid to try it, do you want to try a little piece of chocolate, or do you want to try a little piece of vanilla, even though you've never tried this new thing? I was kind of always put into a box of, Oasis, this is who you are, and this is who you're going to be based on what you liked when you were a kid and based on what we, your parents, tell you. So it took me a very long time to break out of that mold and get to where I'm at now. And when we talk about Maslow's hierarchy of needs, the lowest area of Maslow's hierarchy of needs is basic needs, your food and shelter. And part of adulting that is so stressful is when you don't know how you're going to get all of those things, or you're worried about your housing. Like my situation, not knowing what kind of house I'm going to live in. That's why I was having breakdowns, but I give myself mercy, and I'm patient with myself, because I have the right to cry and then pick myself back up again and say, no, you're going to be okay. Trust God. God's not going to make you homeless. God's not going to make you suffer. Well, you're going to go through trials and tribulations, but God is with you. God is a just God. God is a fair God. He knows how much hard work you've put in. He's not going to sit there and let you fail. He's going to help you. He's going to be your guidance counselor. He's going to be the best advisor you can ever get. Moreover, when you continue ascending Maslow's hierarchy, you eventually have to get to your self-esteem. And then after that, after you reach self-esteem, you become self-actualized. You become sovereign over your own life. You have that strong sense of identity. You have that strong sense of purpose, and the Japanese concept of ikigai is now a part of your life, where your purpose aligns with what you love to do, helping others, and also making money and helping your own self. So yeah, I know that's a lot, but that's just what I've been thinking about. Adulting it is such a challenge. And people pretend like it's easy, and it's not. And I think those people are faking it. I really do. I think people are faking it until they make it, and they're not being honest with themselves and being vulnerable, because vulnerability is hard too. I know people, and this used to really trip me up, but I know a lot of people who would tell me, yeah, college is easy. I just wing it. I don't study. I don't look anything up. I'm not reading the chapters. It's so easy. I just go about my day and have fun, party, go to the gym, hang out with whatever, do whatever. And I used to think that was true, and I used to feel really bad, because I thought, well, why is college easy for everybody else, but for me, I have to study for hours and hours and hours, and I literally have to write everything down, or I forget the information, and I have to highlight and make notes and make Google Docs. And I used to ask myself, why does everything feel more high effort to me? And I think it's honestly because I'm putting in the work and other people are not, and I don't think they're that successful. And I think that to an extent, they're lying. They're lying about things to make themselves seem better. And I think it's a form of being boastful. I think that a part of being humble and having humility is admitting that life is hard. I think that, yeah, I just realized that, yeah, being humble is about admitting that things are hard. It's not about saying, oh, everything's so easy for me and I got it going on. No, gotta have some vulnerability too, and admit that everything is just such a journey. Life really is about the journey, and it's cool. I really love education, and I'm really proud of myself for getting this far. And I don't know what level everybody's on right now that watches my channel, but I'm here to tell you, if you are still in school, or you're still learning a trade, and you're still working towards independence, you can do it. You can literally do it. I am 30 years old working towards independence. 30 years old, trying to move out and get my own place. But I'm gonna do it. Other people have done it. There are people that are 18 years old, 19, even younger. I watch Peter Santinello's channel a lot. He said he moved out when he was 17. There are so many people in this world that are doing it. So why can't you? Because you got to trust yourself, and you have to make your own decisions for yourself. It's okay to do research and get help and get advice, but at the end of the day, you take everything with a grain of salt, and you have to know what you want to do. What do you want? What do you need? Pray, ask God. God will help you. At the end of the day, it is you and God and no one else. When you are sitting by yourself, that is all you have. And when you pass away, that is all you have. Until you go to heaven and you're reunited with your loved ones, it's just you and God. Okay? You do have other people in your life, but I'm talking about like at the end of the day, when you are by yourself, that is all you have, and that's what you have to work with. So really ask yourself, what do I think? And just learn to trust yourself. I know I've said that a lot of times, but I'm really trying to drive the point home. I'm being emphatic, and yeah. All right, I'm gonna end it, y'all. Thank you so much for listening, and have an amazing day. God bless you, and as always, peace out, Girl Scout.